And we should be live, he says. Just wait for everything to catch up. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
And Ross.
Hello.
Oh shit, I've just caught the back of my shoe in my chair. Oh, it's really jammed in there as well.
Is that karma?
That is karma.
Well, actually, to be fair, if it was karma, you know...
It wouldn't be my shoe, right?
Snowball effect for all those years.
Oh, I'm going to have to take my shoe off. Otherwise I'm not going to be able to move my leg.
And your trousers.
And my trousers. Right. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to something.
Episode 8. Radio
Episode 8 already. Who'd have funked it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we have Ross.
Hello.
Who, if you do hear scratching going on in the background, that'd be Ross.
I'm not touching anything.
No, barnacles and testes.
Officer.
Spring to mind. We've got Simon.
Evening.
And Carl.
Hello.
Fucking shoes doing my head in. Right. I'm going to start this week, I think, because there has been some movement on House of Chaos Productions. So if you're watching this live, then you'll be quite familiar with the setup that we broadcast on Twitch, and then we record it as we're broadcasting, and then we upload it to YouTube. What's happened is now we have our own hub, so you can go to houseofchaos.co.uk and you'll come up to a hub which will look something very similar to this. The reason we've done this is just to make it a lot easier for people to find us. So you can go to the hub. We've now got a web address, and you can click on the YouTube, Twitch or Facebook, and that'll take you to the community Facebook page. We also have on there a blog, and it's looking pretty empty at the minute, but that will start to fill up over the next few weeks and months. Excuse me. If you fancy writing something for our blog, as long as it's gaming related, you can. All you need to do is send me a message. So go to the Facebook page, find John, send me a message, and we can sort some details out, and you can write an article for the blog. It's all just to keep it all in one spot. We normally broadcast live on Facebook as well on the Shades of Chaos games, but it didn't seem right because that's more to do with Outlands than just general hobby stuff. I think that's about it, really. That's the only thing I really wanted to cover there. Anyone else want to add to why we've changed things around?
No.
No?
I think.
Apparently, we have some amazing feedback on someone's mic.
Do we?
Says Rob Watson.
Oh.
Wow. That could be mine, to be fair. Right, okay. Rob, do you know who it is when they're talking? So, I'm John. Ross, shout out.
I'm Ross.
Simon.
I'm Simon.
And Carl.
Yeah, that's Carl.
Oh, well, we'll keep an eye on that. Could well be me, to be fair, because I haven't been using the headphones a lot recently, so I've just quickly chucked them in and not set things up. The YouTube channel, you're going to start seeing a lot more content going up there. I know Ross has done some video battle reports, we just need to get that edited. I have a few boxes of stuff to do some unboxing videos.
Ooh,
Just a few boxes.
you're right.
So we'll do it that way, and we'll see what's going on. I think, Simon, you're going to be doing some stuff as well.
Yeah, going to be looking to do some video battle reports and cover the Shadespire end a bit more as well. So
Brilliant. So that's what's going to happen with the House of Chaos. We will still cover some Outland stuff. There hasn't been a lot going on with Outlands recently for the last couple of weeks. That's because I've had a bit of a break, but I should be back on it on Friday.
I was going to say, your nuns were performing awesomely on Friday night, though.
They were good, weren't they?
They were awesome.
You know when you're doing well when the other team just decides to leave the table. Poor old Alex. Right, so hobby stuff. Believe it or not, I've been doing some hobbying.
Say what?
I know, shocking,
Alright.
right?
So have I. Yeah.
Oh my
Oh
god!
my god!
What?
I just fell off my chair.
The world's going to end
It is.
sometime in the next few hours.
So if you follow the live update, you'll know that when it comes to the hobby side of things, I'm not very good at it. I'm not very good at it at all. I don't have a dedicated area for hobbying. I'm not very good at painting. That's because my eyesight's a bit knackered, and I just rarely have the time to do it, because I normally spend most of my free time working on Outlands. But like I said, I've had 2 weeks break from Outlands, and if I go to the right page, I decided to paint some Nighthaunt stuff from the Age of Sigmar, Soul Wars, I think it was.
Yep.
Box. I don't know why, because I don't play Age of Sigmar. That might change as well, because I've now that I've started painting them, now I want to do it. So I'm going to quickly run through what I've done here. So these are the glaive wraiths. I think I pronounced that right. You get 10 in the box. I've picked up 5 from somewhere else. I don't know why. But I started this to get them done as quick as possible, and using a very small palette of paints, because I don't like to spend hours and hours and days and weeks spend just painting models, because I rather stick red hot needles down the end of my penis. So I sprayed these white to start off with, and then I used the Hex Wraith Flame wash from GW, and what I did was just basically washed, not the whole model, but as you can see there, where you got those robes, tattered robes, I done all them on 15 models. You can see there with that white part of like the cape at the top. I could have been a little bit more careful with it when I was putting this on, because I really shouldn't have got any of this green on that white, because in the next stage, those white parts of the cape over the shoulders and the head, I used the black wash from GW.
Yeah.
Just washed all of them, and by doing so, you create a natural highlight. You catch my drift?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, because it's not paint, you're not actually covering anything, you're just giving it more of a stain. So that's what I did there, and moving on, and then I dry brushed the whole model white. And when I say dry brush, traditionally you dry brush down and up, left and right, to pick out all the highlighted areas, but there's a high raised areas. There's a lot of smooth edges on these models, so I did that, and then I went back over it in a circular motion,
Yep.
especially on the top of the model, to pick out some of the highlights.
Yeah, I think with dry brushing, it very much depends on your surface that you've got, John. Seen a really good YouTube video recently from a guy called Sledgehammer. Well, that's what he goes by on YouTube. And he dry brushes Space Marines, which I never thought would be a thing to do. I didn't think you could do it because they've got that nice curve and you need to put that nice sort of edge highlight on. But he does it exactly the same way, circular motion over the circular panels, and it looks brilliant, just like yours do. So,
right, it could be my mic, Rob. Just looking at the chat there. We had this problem before, a few episodes back. So anyway, that's what I done. And then towards the end on that hex ray flame, towards the end of the robes, I went really heavy with the white dry brush to give it that sort of that looks totally different to the picture that I've got on my computer. Totally different. You'll see it from this side. To give it that sort of transition from the white to the green, excuse me. And then I went back over the upper part of the robes with the black wash, whatever that's called, oil or something, I can't remember.
Null oil?
Yeah, alright, I have it in stereo.
We worked so hard to do that.
Yeah. Then I picked out the bone areas of the model, and these are quite different to the rest of the miniatures in the Soul Wars, because these ones actually have bones, where the rest of them are just spirits. And I found bleached bone in my paint rack. I keep on my paints. The old GW bleached bone.
Yeah, yep. Still got it.
Still got it. It's still, funny enough, workable. So that's what I've done now. I just picked out all the bone pieces. And then I started going in with a bit of a wash. And I used Army Painter soft tone.
Yep.
Just on the bottled stuff, not the stuff in the can.
Yeah, yeah.
You can get the
little bottles of.
Little dropper bottles.
Amazing stuff that is.
Just to give it a bit more depth. And afterwards I went back over it and just picked out some of the highlight pieces, like some of the teeth and the top of the jaw there, around that sort of eye socket, to just give it a little bit. That's about as much as I'm ever going to do, to be fair, when it comes to highlighting stuff, because it drives me up the wall. It's the shake, it's the drink, or lack of drink. Shaky hands. And there you go, that's another picture of the same model, just from a different angle. The green wash, the hex ray flame, you can put 2 coats of that black wash over it and it'll still show through.
Yeah, it's really highly pigmented, I found.
It really is, yeah. Which is the mistake I made at the beginning. I should have been a little bit more careful with it. I'm pretty much just coming towards the end now, and it was just a matter of doing that, highlighting it, doing a bit of tidying up, and then doing the bases. And I wanted the bases to be just dirt more than anything, more graveyard, like they've just left the ground.
Yep.
So there you go. But I did do the rim in a sort of a standout colour, because you do have the contrast there of being the black and the green and the white, and then a black base, and you could quite easily leave the model. And it's the same technique I used when I've done the chain wraiths. Is that what they're called?
Chain rasps?
That's the fellas. I've done the same thing. I stuck with the same palette, same trick, but this time I've done it in reverse with the main colours. I went with the black first this time.
Yep.
Just because then if I came in with the green, I would have a bit more control over where I needed to put it. And it was the same process, straight along. I've done it in the production line. There's 20 chain rasps in the starter box, and the most annoying thing about these are the chains, because you can't get to half of them if you built them on.
Oh, tell me about it.
They're just an absolute pain in the arse. These took me longer to do than the 15 glaive wraiths. Those 15 glaive wraiths took me 4 hours.
It's really good.
Wow.
4 hours to do the 15. I know this because I watched four episodes of The Punisher while I've done it. And that's the way I paint them. It's not how to paint, but that's the way I do it. These fellas took 6 hours just on the grounds that the chains. They're just a nightmare to get to. And you don't want to mess up when you're using washes. If you get silver onto that hex wraith flame, it'll stand out. It really will stand out.
Yep.
And then the last couple, just a couple where I've finished up really. Kept the same base, the same sort of thing. I'll keep these going. I'm going to finish off the Soul Wars box, and then I do have some other Nighthaunt stuff that I will paint. I'll probably do some unboxing as well, and we'll move on and try and get a fully functional army out. I might even start playing the game. Ross.
Yeah. I still got my my Blades of Corn half painted.
Half painted.
Yeah.
Have you
I
got
will be.
AoS?
30 blood letters.
Simon, sorry.
What's that, mate?
Have you got any AoS?
No, it's one that I've been sort of iffing and amming to get into. It's one that I probably will do. I just need to decide on a faction, really. And once I have, I'll jump into it.
Right. Okay. I know, Carl, you've still got your Stormcast going, haven't you?
Oh yes, there's a lot of them, but my half-finished ogres are looking tempting at the minute, so might see if we can get them moved on.
Oh, the Beast Claw things.
Yeah. No,
I-
tidying up, and they're looking pretty decent for my painting, so I might have to try and finish them. So yeah.
I had no intention of painting these models. I don't even know why I started. To be fair to anything, I was going to try and convert my old Beastmen army over to AoS. So I went out and bought a load of bases, circular bases, but I don't know. I think I'll stick with these now. Now that I've got a colour scheme that I can do pretty quickly, I'm quite happy with that. That's about it from me. My desktop audio just went off then for some reason. Right, I think Ross, you're up.
Oh hell.
Oh, good.
No, they're looking really good, John.
They are looking
Get in
really
there,
good.
innit?
Well done.
I can't believe how fast you knocked them out.
Well, when you got to knock them out quick, Ross.
Well, I did mention it on the Facebook group, but I couldn't believe they were your painting, John. To be fair, I
Right.
thought it was too much. I thought it was too much effort put into it to be your painting. But you know,
20 years ago, I would have given you boys a run for your money in the paper.
Yeah, seriously, I've seen some of your older stuff. Looks really good.
yeah.
Really good.
Yeah. I've fallen into that habit of just buying models and thinking, I'll paint them, and I never got round to painting them. And then there's like a decade, or in this case, nearly 2 decades, of where
Yeah.
I would pick up a brush and probably paint. I painted 27 miniatures last year.
Still some more.
That's
Yeah.
that's it. This year,
It's nearly as-
in 2 weeks, I've painted 47.
Wow.
Yeah. But you leave it so long, and then you realise you're just getting old, and you don't have the time, or you don't have the definitely don't have the patience for it, and I
Time is a big factor.
don't have the eyesight for it either now, which you guys will find out. You will find that out. And I don't have a dedicated hobby area either, that's the thing. So when I do this, I have to get everything out.
Yeah,
And
I
then
have
I've
that
got to
same
try
issue.
and put it all away, just in case someone falls over and lands on a craft knife or something like that. Or end up killing one of the dogs because it's annoyed me. Right, Ross, you're up.
Right, go for it. Roll credits.
Hey, what are we talking
Hey, it's Flaming Ross.
about? That's not the word I would use, but...
Right. It's airbrushing time. So, I have been experimenting with airbrushing just a couple times for this week. Had a new airbrush. I think I spoke about it last time. Thoroughly enjoyed. Completely different from the last airbrush. So reactive. And I got given 100 Humbro enamel airbrush paints, which you can't say fairer than that.
Who gave you them?
Well, I did a favour for somebody, and the husband. There you go. The husband said, "You do painting, don't you?" I was like, "Yeah." Where's this going? And so years ago, he used to be into World War II tanks, like airfix kits, things like that, and a little bit of train stuff. So most of the paints are like khaki colours, so nothing too bright, too garish. But I thought that'd be ideal for some scenery. And of course, you're not going to turn down 100 paints, are you?
Definitely not.
So I thought for our club, I would run through different batches of scenery. So I had a load of 40k scenery, a load of Mantic scenery, and a load of my own made scenery, some post-apocalyptic stuff that I really like making. So I thought I'd experiment. So this is the OGW plastic crater. I'm sure everybody's seen by now. Comes in a lovely grey. So yeah, I thought I would give it a go. So I've used 3 different kinds of paint here, and very much like John, I started off with a basic grey primer, and Zenith highlight the highest edges, just a heavy dry brush with a lighter grey, and then got to it with the airbrush. So there was some sandy colours, so I decided to drop it was ghost white, drop a sand into ghost white to make up some interesting concretey type colours, because concrete isn't as white or grey as you think it is.
No, it's not, is it?
No.
No, it's like a slight yellowy tinge.
Beige, isn't it? And anything.
Yeah.
So that's the enamel
Yeah.
paints.
Yeah. It does look a little bit chalky, certain colours like the greens and stuff. But yeah, put like a satin varnish on it and it brings it right back. They're so smooth to use. Unbelievable, but you definitely have to use a mask.
Oh yeah.
Killed myself with this stuff. Yeah, and rather than it being water based and you can clean it out with, like your I've got some here a use miniature airbrush cleaner. You've got to use something like white spirit or so I've been using some cheapy white spirit to nearly gas myself out of the house. But yeah, really nice and smooth. So once again, some GW scenery. This stuff is from, so I've got 3 shipping containers here. So I haven't put any of the extras on it. I was just messing around with the base colours. So I started with a chocolate brown on the top left and worked my way up after the old Zenith highlight again to red brick apparently. So yeah, this stuff was mostly for trains in the past, but nothing too garish, too crazy.
They look
no
good.
bright.
They look really good.
Yeah, no bright reds or bright blues or anything like that. But you don't want nothing too ridiculous on the table. And then I experimented with some leaf greens and some army greens on the bottom. And on the right hand side, I wanted to see what GW washes would look like. So on the Ghost Grey, I tried a no oil and then dry brushed it back to white on the top, and yeah, it took really well.
Yeah.
Not a problem. The paints interchange quite well. Yeah, really happy with these. Ripped through these in no time. Good old airbrush. Can't beat an airbrush for scenery, can you?
Well,
Not at all.
That smooth finish you get with it as well.
It's fantastic. Yeah, so these kits, like I said, are from the Conquest magazine. I mean, you can pick them up directly through GW. So Conquest is a Games Workshop magazine that comes through your door once a week, or you get them in certain newsagents. And a few weeks collection there. So it's 3 weeks. You get some barrels and some ammo crates as well.
Which is the next picture.
Yeah, go for it.
Which should be loaded in as we speak.
It's a really nice detail inside those shipping containers as well, but I don't really like leaving the doors open. Could easily get broken off or something, and then you get the old line of sight questions going on in the game. So yeah, these are the barrels and the ammo crates that came with. So once again, airbrush, and then I painted the gold by hand on the green ammo crates, and then just put a wash over the top, some GW wash. After I taped up the barrels, I decided to put a wash over those as well. So on the red, I used a bit of Agrax, so a bit of a brownie colour. And on the white, I used some no oil. That no oil that you used, John, that black wash.
Yeah, the black stuff.
Makes it nice and dirty. Nothing too clean on the table. No, had some good fun. And really easy to assemble this stuff. And lovely to paint. That enamel paint is fantastic. Okay, next picture, please.
It's loaded in. There it is.
Right. Okay, so this is semantic scenery that John gifted to me, and I added a few little bits on it, some busted up Mantic clips I've had before, some rebars and stuff showing. Yeah, so once again, the grey primer with a cheapy rattly can. I think it's like £1 or something from Poundland. And yeah, just start with the sand colour, picking the highest points. And then once that was dry, I added a drop of white to the same sand, just did the higher points again. Then I used a brown wash and pin washed
it.
Yeah, but John told me a technique after that would have been so much quicker.
So this is how it came about. I got a message in the morning over Facebook from Ross with a picture of this kit before he put a wash on it, and he said, "Do you think it needs a wash?" I said, "Yes, it needs pin washing between the panels."
Yep.
Thinking that Ross would know what I was talking about. Then about 8 o'clock in the evening, I get a message come through saying, "I've done it, but it took a really long time."
Did he wash it with a pin?
And
No.
and it dawned on me that when I mentioned pin washing, I mean using an oil-based wash over a gloss finish.
Over a gloss varnish, yep.
Yeah, because that way it just runs into all the grooves straight away, and there's very little clear-up time.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. And you
And
clear it with a cotton wool bud with some white spirit on it. Lovely.
Yeah, and then just matte it down and take the shine out of it again.
And with an airbrush, of course, the varnishing would have taken seconds.
Yep.
But no, of course, I did it the long way around. And
Pin wash it with no oil.
yeah. So yeah, this was Agrax, so it was, I didn't want it. It was a brown rather than a black.
Yep.
But damn, took a long time. And once that was dry, I dry brushed certain areas of it as well, like the grating.
Yeah.
But yeah, because I have a couple of varnishes in that Humbro kit as well, I could have just ripped through the varnishes in no time. So lesson learned.
Little tip for you there, Ross.
Yeah, see, us old boys still know how to do it.
Yeah.
Or know
yeah,
how
it's
to
not the
talk
first
about
time.
it, we just can't do it anymore.
It's not the
Go
first
get
time
the,
John's given me a tip.
Hey, that's why you keep your doors closed on your cargo containers. Right. Next picture.
Yeah, so the old G-Dub
Ruins.
scenery again. Yeah. So, been grey for many a year. Once again, John gifted me 4 of those, I think. I've lost one of my own years ago. Yeah, always meant to paint them up. Never have, but now we've got an airbrush. Nothing's stopping me now. So, a slightly different tone to the crater I had at the beginning of my segment here. But I did quite like the colour, so I adapted it slightly, put another drop of different colour in. Yeah, just ripped through it in no time, not a problem. So, stuck to the highest areas with the airbrush, as per always. Didn't put a wash on it this time. I wanted to make it a bit more eye-catching on the table, but I still dry brushed it, raised areas, which I think it came out okay.
Yeah, looking good.
Looking good, mate.
All that, it took an hour. I didn't put any real... I mean, the dry brush is fantastic. It just really picks up the highest areas. Pretty chuffed with that. Some quick scenery.
Right, we'll move on from that then. So do you want anything you want to add to that, Ross, before we talk about barbs?
No, I don't think so. I'm pretty chuffed with it. The idea was to get different lots of scene for our local club, and ripped out in no time at all, and experiment. I want to try more airbrushing stuff on scenery, get a bit more experience before I've done undercoating stuff before with miniatures, which, you know, no pressure, you know, you're not really going to mess anything up there. But now, yeah. Now I'm going to be a bit braver and attack some models, I think.
Right.
Awesome.
I can already hear Carl crying at this picture.
Why is that?
Because there's Lord of the Rings scenery being used for 40k.
Don't. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
Right, so
Disturbing.
you can see Carl's hand in the background just nabbing it, can you? Mine, precious. So yeah, me and a friend from the local gaming group decided to go to Barb's in Red Roof for a 40k tournament to support local people. So they didn't have too bad a turnout. This is the second 40k event they've ever had, and we've had 10 people there, and it was really good to see a couple of guys under the age of 10, I think they were. So one of them was his first ever tournament, and really, I think everybody at Barb's that's gone to any of the events so far have been really friendly. There's no real power gamers. We always meet up half-time at lunch, go get a pasty, just have a natter about rules and whatnot. I travelled that way, and in this game I ended up playing with a guy I went down there with. So it was picked randomly, and what are the chances, eh? So this was my game against Ants Salamanders. Of course I was playing Blood Angels. What else would you play? The winning team every time. I say that, but then you see one death company about to get run over by a rhino. He's totally got this. But no, it was a great day. Like I said, everyone was really friendly. Really enjoyed myself. I was doing quite well, and I got paired up against one of the under 10, and I gave him a pleasant, didn't totally trounce him. Talked him through a few tips and tactics. I mean, certainly you don't do that at a tournament. You normally do it through like maybe a club night if you're a nice friendly gamer. But in a tournament, you normally just go hard and just, you know, try to wipe him. But seeing as this kid was under 10 and he's only ever played against his dad and brother before, to go fairly easy, and that took me to 4th place because I didn't decide to shoot his army off the table. I held back a bit and talked him through a few things, and he wanted to get his war. The next picture you'll
Ross,
see. Yep.
Just pause for a minute because you are breaking up really badly. I don't know the rest of the guys can hear that.
Yeah.
Just dropping out
Yeah.
every second.
Okay.
Sounding a bit like a robot.
Yeah. So
Right. How's that?
it's when you're
Better?
talking, it's just up and down all the time. Like, try it now.
How's
We'll
this?
turn it from the generator.
Yeah. Smoother?
Well, you need to talk, Ross, because I can't tell when you're silent.
How about now? Radio Paradise live update. Series 1, Episode 8.
Yeah,
That's better.
that was perfect.
Okay. Picture please, John. So the under 10-year-old I played, forget his name, I believe it was. Nice kid. Bought a new Space Marine model, which was Marnius Kelgar, the latest edition, which should be the next picture.
No, it will be if I was paying attention.
Okay. Yes, he wanted to get this guy into combat, and rather than shoot him off the table, I moved all my army up to him. Didn't shoot that turn, didn't charge, and just let him have some fun. There he is. I thought that was really well done for. I think it's like the 10th model he's ever painted. He was under 10. I thought it was a good attempt.
That's a really good attempt, isn't it?
I wish I was that good at his age, and I wish there was YouTube at that age as well. That would have made a hell of a difference, watching videos. But yeah, so I let him have some fun, and that took me from 2nd position in the tournament to 4th. But his mum said thank you very much. He was really chuffed, shook my hand, great, and had a great time. So yeah, check out Barb's. John's put the link up. They've got AoS tournaments every other month, and the months in between 40k. And there was talk of other games on the horizon as well, so maybe some X-Wing, Shadespire, things like that. But
Yeah.
it's a nice venue. There's plenty of tables. There's probably get about 10 tables in there, so 20 people, maybe a bit more. Barb's is a lovely person, and parking's brilliant. I think it's £2 all day, and it's just around the corner. So that's Barb's at Red Roof. Check it out.
That's Red Roof, Cornwall, in the UK.
In England.
Yeah. Yeah, the next one is March the 10th, and it's Round War. So it's an Age of Sigma one. If I can get my models painted, I'm going to
Yeah.
go.
We'll be there.
Get down there.
I'll go there. I won't take the models with me, I'll just turn up. Something like that.
Yeah, Bob's is ace. They generally run a Guild Ball tournament once every couple of months as well. So
Yeah, they want to start running the tournaments on a more regular basis now. Now they've got a bit more funding from the locals, but the more backing that we get, more people get down there, the better the venue will be. They want to get some more scenery, they were saying the other day. But no, it's really good stuff down there. The atmosphere is fantastic. When everybody cheers, and they're clapping at the end. It's brilliant.
Okay, I think it is Flaming Simon.
Yay!
I did say flaming.
Baptized by flames.
Okay.
All right. So a little bit of what I've been up to in the past 3 weeks to start off with. Anyone that follows my Instagram or seen on the Facebook page will know I've been working on Zarbag Skits, which I took to Curtain Games' Shadespire tournament, Underworlds tournament, Catacombs of Curtain, which was on Saturday the 16th of February. So this is my work in progress of the Zarbag Skits. Chose yellow as the colour I wanted to paint them and instantly regretted it, but that was all done through the airbrush, so both the skin tone and the yellow was all done through the airbrush.
Why did you regret yellow as your choice?
It's a really hard colour to paint. and a really, really hard colour to do justice with. And I think
it covers quite badly as well. If you have a dark colour underneath,
yeah,
yellow's not the best, is it?
not at all, no. So I did those, and I did put this out to a lot of the hobby groups and stuff like that, because I was a bit... It's the first time I think I've had during my painting that I've done where I've sort of almost wanted to strip them and redo them again properly, which I don't generally do. I tend to stick with it and carry on. But these ones here had some really nice support from the guys on the Facebook groups and that, saying, no, you know, just carry on, block them in a bit, see what they look like. So if I could have the next pictures rolling, John.
Okay.
And they can just roll as they go on. And these are the finished ones, so I'm glad everyone said to carry on, because I think they're probably some of my best works that I've done so far, which I'm really happy with.
They do look ace.
So yeah, had the joy of playing these on Friday night at the club against Ed, so that was really good. But yeah, so first squad in Night Vault that, or you know, first team in Night Vault that is 9 members with the 2 squigs. But yeah, they were really good. Really, really happy with them. So if we can keep rolling the pictures, John.
Yep, here they come.
So should have Zarbag up next. So that's a whole squad picture. And then the squigs. Decided to go for purple on them because purple is the diametrically opposite on the colour wheel to yellow. So I thought that would be quite a nice little pop colour for the army. So that's Gobbleluck and Bone Cracker.
Who?
Gobbleluck and Bone Cracker.
I know those two. They're twins.
Live in Bodmin, don't they?
Yeah. Yeah,
Not Camborne
they
again.
moved up from Camborne. Yeah. Oh God.
So the next one should be Zarbag, which is the leader of the squad.
Yep, it's loading through.
So that's he's
They
the
look
wizard.
really good on Friday.
Gone for a little bit of a OSL on that one there with the spite in the front there. I do need to finish the OSL on that. I noticed now in the picture I need to sort of do some OSL on the mushroom, but apart from that, really happy with them. Should then have Drizgit, who's the squig herder with his wonderful branding iron.
There is a big delay tonight. I don't know what that is.
Yeah.
It should be coming through. You could probably...
Yeah, he's through. Yeah, got him there.
You're
so
seeing it before I am tonight, so I don't know what's going on.
So the branding iron was quite a nice little thing to do, doing that nice glowing sort of effect. Didn't do that through the airbrush, could have, but I didn't do that with the airbrush. I did that just by, using paintbrush and a bit of sponge. Was really stuck for bases on this, and so spoke to Marcus, and Marcus was like, well, why don't you do them like a clay kind of base? And so in the end, that's a grey, standard Mechanicus grey with a typhus corrosion wash over the top, and it's given it that really sort of muddy clay type look, which I really, really like, and it's really, really set them off nicely. And the next one, mate.
Some of these new goblin sculpts are really comical.
Oh, they're gorgeous. This is my favourite sculpt in the whole thing, and my favourite model in the whole of the Gits. So this is Snurk Sourtongue. He's the goblin fanatic.
Great name.
And he is just amazing. Bit random, bit of RNG in it. You know, but with his ability, but yeah, really, really good.
Okay.
And then we've got the next picture, which should be the.
Yeah, these there's some right comical poses to this lot.
Oh, they're amazing. The Arab boys, Dibs, Stick It, and the Netter Prog. Prog the Netter. The names are just brilliant as well. I love them. And the last one should be Red Cap. Again, did a bit of grime. Like I'm really liking doing this on any models that I've put like onto a mud base or a clay base like this. I like to do a bit of weathering on the bottom of their cloaks if they've got them, because they wouldn't be clean. They would normally be, you know, they would really be dirty and horrible. So that's what I did with those.
Have you thought about adding some mushrooms to the base at all?
Some of them have mushrooms already on them.
Because I know there's a few Omlek that do some mushrooms. They look really funky.
I should have a look into them.
Yeah, they look really, really good. I know it's a bit late, but I'll send a link to the live chat.
That's cool, ideal.
But yeah, they look really fun. Those are fantastic. They really are.
They are absolutely brilliant.
The names as well, wicked.
Oh yeah, I mean, yeah. For example, that last one there is called Red Cap. I had to do it red. With a name like Red Cap, you can't give him any other colour cap. So on to the new releases for Underworlds. So on the community blog last Sunday, we had the pre-orders for this week, which is the new board set out. Now, really, really good price, these boards, I thought. Can get them from most of the discount retailers at about £12.50. It's only one board, double-sided, as usual, but there are some really nice new nuances to these boards. For example, the board on the left, which they haven't named yet, I don't think, is got the first board with 3 starting hexes all in together. So I shall be playing that with my Gits because of their scurry mechanic that they've got. So basically the Gits have a mechanic where if one model moves when it's adjacent to another model, the model next to it can move as well as the scurry reaction. So really, really good with that one. And the board across from it on the right hand side, really cool, has 3 lethal hexes, which effectively means that in some ways you can push people through and do 2 damage at once if you've got knockback. So really, really good. These are coming out Friday. We're on pre-order Sunday, so yeah, any of your discount retailers or anything like that, or straight from GW for those. Right.
So these extra boards that they're bringing, they're all different. They have different blocking
hexes, different starting hexes. But board placement is a big thing, and I think the next I'll probably actually do a video on it on the YouTube once I've got that all sorted. But I think board placement is a massive thing in Underworlds. Dependent on the warband you're playing, the warband you're playing against, board placement is really, really important. Nearly as important as deck building. So I spend quite a lot of time looking at the board placements, where to put things. And it's not just a case of, I'll just grab that board and play on it. There's always some sort of thought put into it.
Okay.
So.
Well, yeah. So this was announced at
the New York Toy Fair.
Was it the New York Toy Fair?
Yeah. Yeah, so this was announced at the New York Toy Fair. Now, this is going to be a bit like some of their old or some of the ones they brought out last year. They brought out Blitz Bowl, I think it was last year, and a few others. And this is called Dreadfane. So this is going to go into stores over in America. They've got a store called Barnes and Noble that James Workshop seem to put a lot of their boxed game products into. Now this is almost like an Shadespire, I would say, or Underworlds is an entry level game as it is, although it's marketed as the competitive tournament game. It is very much an entry level game, I would say. Very good from Games Workshop. Everything in the box you need to play. Yes, arguably, if you want to play it at top competitive level, you do need to buy all the expansions and stuff. But if you just wanted a game that you kept in the cupboard and played, with your kids or something like that, Underworlds is a really good game. But this is their new take on it. Now, unfortunately, no new miniatures in this one. The miniatures are all previously released, so they are the easy to build kit Banshees and the easy to build kit Sequitors that came out when Nightvault was released. Not Nightvault, when Soul Wars was released. So they are not new sculpts, but there is new sets of cards, and they are 2 new warbands. Now, there is only the one board in this, so it's played on a much smaller area, it seems, than what you would normally play Shadespire on. But the nice thing about it is the 2 new warbands are actually going to transfer over into the main Underworlds game.
Right, that was what I was going to ask.
Yeah.
Are they
read your mind, see?
You don't want to read my mind, Simon. really don't want to go there.
So unfortunately, the pictures weren't massively clear on the community website. So you can't really see any of the abilities or anything like that. Games Workshop have got a brilliant way of doing that, where they show you something but don't show you everything, which is quite nice. But the thing that interests me the most about this expansion is, if anyone's played Underworlds before, you'll know that you have your objective deck and your power deck, or your gambit deck as it's now called. But you now have, it seems, in this Dreadfane, there is a new deck, which is this red deck in the middle. Again, you can't see much on there, but people... there's been a lot of speculation as to what it's going to be. The most common speculation at the moment is, last year they released another type of game where there were like weather effects and stuff like that, and so weather effects that affects each round of the game, drawn at random from this pile of cards. So they think that's what it possibly could be, is some effect that comes into play. But whether that gets integrated into the main Underworlds game, we will see. But if it is, it'll be an interesting new mechanic and an interesting, bit of a change up for the meta, shall we say.
I'm guessing 2P's podcast is Ben, or is it Dan?
It sounds like Ben, by the looks of it, because he shouted out Typhus Corrosion.
Right.
Yeah,
is it a
Ben.
new board he's asking?
It is a new board, yes.
Yeah,
that's a brand new board.
Is that a full-size half board?
That is a full-size half board, yes.
Right, it looks kind of big. But... So yeah, Ben,
Yeah.
It's a new board.
Yeah, so that's effectively 3 new boards we've got. I think this one's only single-sided, so...
Oh, really? So you can't
the-
use it in the others?
yeah, whether it'll port over to the others, I don't think so. Yes, it's a new board, but I think it's only usable in Dreadfane, unfortunately. Looks quite cool. It's got some nice starting hexes there and some nice blocked hexes.
Yeah, I'm not sure on this, to be honest.
It's well, I think personally it's just the same as Blitz Bowl last year. It's grab a different crowd product.
Yeah,
yeah,
definitely.
That's the thing, and
I think it's very much aimed at the board games
yeah
market. My only sort of thing, like I've just said, is I don't know if it's anything new, as in
quite
the fact that effectively Underworlds is a effectively Underworlds is a board game as it is.
Yeah, it's not something they can massively cut down, I suppose. In the way that Blood Bowl was cut down to Blitz Bowl, and
I was very surprised about
the game and
this news.
Yeah,
I didn't think it was necessary.
Was very good because sorry, Ross, carry on.
I was just saying, I didn't think this is what the game needed, really. I mean, it was in a good place. Does it need to get any?
I don't think it did. I think it's going to be. My other big worry about this, obviously, Blitz Bowl and some of the other things that came out last year were only available through Barnes & Noble in the States, and although you could get it shipped over here, there seemed to be problems, I believe, from reading on the internet, there seemed to be problems with if people had broken models inside and stuff like that, that it wasn't fully dealt with properly. Someone might be able to tell me differently, but that's certainly the voice I got from some of the guys who bought Blitz Bowl and that. When they had broken models, it wasn't really dealt with by customer services over in the UK, which worries me a little bit. And if it is just going out to the American market, are they going to cater for the UK market with this? Is there going to be a tie-in with one of the other toy stores like Smith's or someone like that over here?
I don't think so.
That would take it on. I don't think so. I think
that would be this is being definitely catered to a different crowd. I think
definitely
because it came out with the news. This release came out with that other board game.
It did. It did.
The one that uses the Space Marines from the booster pack Space Marines
from the Heroes, isn't it?
Heroes, that's it. Yeah.
But the biggest thing that worries me about this is that Games Workshop are selling this on the community as the 2 new warbands will actually port into Underworlds. So if it's only an American thing, how are we going to get hold of it as the in the UK market?
They'll probably just do the warbands.
Yeah.
Because I've got the Banshee models.
Yeah, exactly. They're not new models, they're old.
Just getting cards, isn't it?
Yeah.
So why not just repackage them like they do with all the other?
Yeah, it could be a card pack. You never know.
A card pack, maybe. We'll see.
Yeah.
Stormcast again, though. So very disappointed.
Yeah.
They just suck dick.
It's gonna be.
It's Games Workshop's main model now, isn't it? Stormcast. It's like the Space Marine of Age of Sigmar. But yeah, we'll see what happens. I'd like to. I might chance it. I might chance getting a copy from Barnes & Noble if and when it comes out. When it comes out, should I say? Because it looks quite nice, and I'd like to see what those red cards are. It's triggered my interest a little bit.
I think the other thing, putting it out there, those extra cards, I think somewhere behind the scenes it's already planned, and that's in the next box about October time that will supersede Night Vault.
Yeah,
I'm calling it right now. That's the season 3 mechanic. Yeah. There we go.
And you know what? That would be awesome if that is a season 3 mechanic. Oh my god!
I think it could be.
Wouldn't it make sense because it is the Nighthorn Banshees that it be part of this season?
No, I mean with the deck, because that extra side deck.
That extra side
will
deck
be the mechanic to change it up again.
They've also always used it as like a play test for the new mechanic.
Right, I just need to go and ban Ben from the chat.
That's quite good. It looks lively.
He's I know, but then he's just said Stormcaster are awesome. That's just another.
I need some support here, but
over the edge. Gonna move on.
Yeah.
Right, Simon, I'm gonna leave you to this for a minute. I need to go and get a glass of water.
No problems, mate.
When I come back, just shout if you need it. Moved on.
Yeah. Cool. So, unfortunately, this is a bit of a long section now. So, last week, in Underworlds, we have a banned and restricted list that comes out, and also a list of cards that GW have almost said that are too powerful and need to be either restricted in decks or need to be banned outright. So there were only a few entries into it this time. The pink entries are the new ones. So definitely Fortitude and Sudden Growth. I could see these going onto the ban list from the start. We did have the big 166 player Grand Clash, so they had a decent amount of evidence to go on, 166 deck list to look through and go, what are the most common cards that are being played by everyone?
Oh god, that's a good job to have.
Yeah.
Go cross-eyed at the end of it.
I don't know. I could be available.
And hey, 166 players at a Grand Clash, highly competitive tournament. It gives you a good set of data, doesn't it, really, from that. So, upgrades wise, there was no change to the ploys and power from that side. They had no change at all, but on the upgrade side, definitely Fortitude and Sudden Growth were added to the list now. It's a little bit of a shame because one of my tactics recently has been to load Snurk up with these because he doesn't suffer any penalties. These are the +2 wounds, -2 move upgrades. So we came out of this kind of one-shot meta with Sudden Growth and definitely Fortitude, and went up to this high wounds, and now they've been the restricted list. So the restricted list, for anyone that doesn't know, basically you can only include in your deck 5 cards from the restricted list, and that's throughout all your decks. So that's your objective deck, your power deck, and your objective deck and your power deck, and you can only have 5 cards in both of those decks together. So if we move on, John, if you...
Yes, I've got my glass of water. Ben,
Awesome.
you might want to try this to wash out the taste of Stormcast.
The taste of Stormcast. And the only other card that hit the restricted list was an objective, Superior Tactician. It was in everyone's deck. It was very easy to score. Score 6 objectives during the whole game and score 3 glory in the third end phase. Didn't really have to, there was a lot of cards that you can score without having to even, really sort of interact with your opponent. 6 of those cards in Superior Tactician can score you a good chunk of glory. So, and glory's how you win games. On to the banned list. Now, I don't think this card needed banning. I'm going to be completely and utterly different to the rest of the internet, but I don't think Extreme Flank needed banning. I think it's been banned purely because the way it was written was very ambiguous, and when they FAQ'd it, they FAQ'd it slightly wrong, in my opinion, and made it far too easy to score. Because it was easy to score, it was put in everyone's deck, and instead of possibly making the changes they could have to it, and wording it slightly better, it's now been banned. So Extreme Flank, for anyone that didn't know, was basically a card that said to score it was 2 glory, didn't have to interact with your opponent, but you basically had to have 1 fighter on one board edge and 1 fighter on another board edge. And if it was a board edge, it had to be the furthest board edge away, generally. But you got to choose the fighter, so you could choose a fighter that was in one corner if you had set it up on a diagonal, and then your furthest board edge was actually your own board, so you didn't have to move your models or anything. So I think they banned it purely from a perspective of it was easier to deal with it that way than to have to re-FAQ it.
What's a gambit?
A gambit?
Yeah, I can't
So
remember. When I
gambit...
used to play the game, I can't remember what a gambit. It doesn't
Well,
register with me.
Gambit came in with Night Vault, so when you were playing back in Shadespire, John, it was the ploy deck, or the ploys.
Right, okay.
So the ploys are now called Gambits. So they are the ploy cards and the spell cards, the Gambit spells and Gambit ploys, they're now called.
Okay, that's cleared that confusion up for me.
That's alright, mate. So that's the only addition is Extreme Flank. So then we came out with the FAQ, and again I think this was completely and utterly wrong. So Mollog, who has been winning Shade Glass trophies left, right and centre recently. Marcus, not our Marcus from down in Cornwall, but Marcus from Exeter, actually came second in the Curtain Games tournament that I went to with Mollog. You know, he is an absolute brute, and played correctly, I think he's possibly one of the most outside of defensive Stormcast, he's possibly one of the most negative play experiences going. But that's just my opinion. So Mollog from the new war, one of the new war bands that's just come out, but they've changed his inspired card now to say that when he has a single charge token, he can still be activated. Now, previously, his card said, when this fighter has a single move or charge token, it can make a charge action on its inspired side. So now it can still be activated. You might ask, what's the difference? Well, the big difference is that the old way it was worded meant that he could only make another charge. He had a charge on him, he could only charge. So you would only get 2 attacks out of him a turn. Now he can charge into a position. He's got 2-inch melee. So, covers a nice area of board. Or 2 hex melee, should I say. 2-inch melee. Going back to my War Machine days there. It's got a 2 hex melee. And basically now he can charge in. And he can, especially if you've got the board in corridor, which is when you would have them both long ways, he can literally charge down the middle of the board and there is no way your guys can go apart from backwards or in behind him to get away from him attacking you. And when he's inspired, he can charge, he can then still be activated, so he can still attack from where he stood. He can make another charge or a move action. He's got 2-inch melee, covers a nice area of board. Attack, 2 hex melee, so he's really powerful. Going back to my War Machine days there. Errata. Personally think too powerful, but hey.
We're getting some feedback on the Facebook feed.
Okay.
I'm not sure where it's coming from. Has someone got Facebook running with the sound on?
No.
Okay, no worries. Right, your next picture's up, or should be.
Next picture should be Second Wind. So this was a errata again. This says choose a friendly fighter that has 1 or more charge tokens. In the next activation, treat the chosen fighter as if they have 1 fewer charge token than they have and 1 more move token than they have. Now, this is really nice. I like this change. I like this change a lot. There's a few cards that have come out recently. Bag of Tricks is one that I can think of that I've put into my Goblin deck that basically allows you to search your deck for a card, but then you've got to put a charge token next to your character, meaning that they can't activate again. And with the new wording to Second Wind, it means basically that I could use Bag of Tricks twice in 1 turn, which is really nice. Card search mechanics in a card game, very good. Anyone that's played Magic the Gathering will attest to this thing. That card draw and card search are possibly 2 of the best mechanics that you can go for in a card game.
Moving on.
Moving on, please, mate. So next is just some FAQs. And this first FAQ I've put in is possibly the biggest FAQ, the biggest thing I've been doing. Well, can't say wrong because they've only just FAQ'd it, but certainly something that the entire community, I believe, has been doing wrong. So the question was, when I use a do-over, and a do-over is basically a mulligan at the start of your anyone again who's used to playing Magic the Gathering will know what a mulligan is, or a card. But it's basically a card game that if you don't like the cards that are in your hand, you can discard them. Obviously, in Shadespire, you have two decks. You have your objective deck, you have your power deck. So you could mulligan either your power hand, your objective hand, or both. Now, how it used to be played was that you might look at your power hand and go, oh, I don't like that, I'll discard that, and I'll draw a new power hand, and then those power cards might not sync with your objective hand that you've drawn. So you would then discard your objective hand and pull through, and that was it. So the latest FAQ has basically said now that you have to decide which portions of your hand to discard all at once. So now you can't go and discard your power hand, draw a new power hand, or discard your objective hand and then draw a new power hand afterwards. You've got to decide whether you want to go one or the other, or both at the same time. And then you draw all the replacements at once. So that's a pretty big FAQ change. The next one, please, John.
Oh, good luck reading this.
It'd be a bit small, I think. But the next change, basically, and this was something that's cleared up a big thing that people have been going on about. So the question was, which score immediately objectives can be scored if you draw them after meeting the condition to score them? So score immediately generally is exactly as it says. When you reach the condition, if you've got the objective in your hand, you play it. However, there are cards that have the exception to this, and this was brought out mainly because in the last expansion there were two. Not last expansion before that, sorry, the Eyes of the Nine and the Gits. There were two cards that were released, Martyred and Strong Start. Now the way they were worded made it sound like they could be scored retrospectively. Basically, Martyred was if the first fighter that dies in a phase was your fighter, you could score it for 1 glory. Strong Start was if your warband was the first warband to take an enemy fighter out of action, you could score 1 glory. So they've now basically put up a nice list, and again you can get this on the Warhammer community website. Go to the FAQ section, it's all there under the designer's commentary. But they've now put a nice list of all the cards that can be scored as the exception to the score immediately. And I like that. I think that's really good. It's really, really good for the for the game to show that they are actually being proactive with this and listening to what the community wants. This was something that went on the Warhammer community Facebook page for weeks and weeks and weeks and months. We've been saying about this, so really, really good. The next FAQ.
Cover ground.
Is cover ground. Now this one is really, really interesting. So cover ground is a score immediately objective that basically says if your fighter moves 6 or more hexes, you could, from their starting position, you can score cover ground. And the question was, if they move with Fameway Crystal or Inescapable Vengeance. Now Fameway Crystal and Inescapable Vengeance are 2 upgrades. Fameway Crystal says when you make a move action, you discard the Fameway Crystal, and instead of making a normal move action, you move to an objective. And Inescapable Vengeance is very similar for the Nighthaunt. When they make a move action, they move to a starting hex, I believe it is, and it's on the Briar Queen. Now, if it ends 6 or more hexes away from their starting hex with Fameway Crystal or Inescapable Vengeance, you can now score cover ground. That's a really, really, really powerful, how can I say, really, really powerful boost to the Thorns of the Briar Queen. Really powerful. I don't know any Thorns deck that doesn't run Fameway and Inescapable Vengeance. Seems to be their tactic. You know, load up the Briar Queen, score a load of passive, and then go from there. But with this move 6, absolutely brilliant. So I can see that going into every single deck. It's only 1 glory, but it's a score immediately 1 glory that the Thorns can get quite easily.
Moving on.
Moving on, please, mate. We'll try and get through these.
Right, Ross, you're going to
So-
disappear, bud.
Should be aggressive group defense.
Okay.
So this is just a timing thing for aggressive defense. Basically plays aggressive defense a little bit less powerful than what it should be, I think. But basically, if your opponent plays aggressive defense and you have an attack that, like Tireless Assault, that basically says if you miss your attack, you can attack again. Aggressive defense's reaction plays after all of those are resolved, so potential for you to get killed, because with aggressive defense you can't actually roll any defense dice. So great on Gerzag, great on Mollog. Other 4-winged fighters possibly not. And I think that's my lot.
That's it. Right.
That is it this week. So just a quick update on the BAR list, my thoughts, and some of the new releases.
Everyone's back. We're back in it. Right, Cole. 1
Here
hour
we
and
are.
20 minutes.
I was going to say it. Well, I've kept it short this week for good reason.
You ready?
It was going to be. Yeah, let's go for it. Let's do the quick look at the new things that are around at the moment.
So your first picture is up.
First one is, as we've just seen, pre-order next weekend. Necromunda, isn't it?
Yeah.
So got the Ambot, big servo hauler type thing, which
Is this
Yeah.
a response to
the Amble from
yeah, I'll say they really made this difficult this week. I don't like it. Yeah, there's see some links, I think, but yeah, it's good to see Necromunda get some more support, I suppose, with shiny stuff. So
They do look good.
yeah,
They
good,
look
good
awesome.
models. They do look like a good kit as well. The sprues are quite impressive.
They were at the New Year Open Day, and they
Yeah,
physically in the
Yeah.
flesh, so to speak.
yeah. It's can see a lot of uses for them down the lines anyway. If you want to scroll on, John, and we're
Yeah,
through
we've got
quick,
some
I'm just having a yeah.
robot
The
thingy.
rest of the things, there's more weapon kits for our Titanicus stuff coming as well. So good to see that. Keep the support, and yeah, hopefully that'll grow, and I might build mine one day. And yeah,
And we got the one box, Carl.
just the one, mate. Yeah, at the moment, but yeah.
Did you get the Grandmaster edition?
Yes, I have, mate. Yeah, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
nice.
It's
Well,
yeah, you know, but it's I'd say these kits would be good for anyone trying to do it on a bit of a budget, because it's all good to magnetize your weapon choices, you know. So yeah, having these choices keep it a bit cheaper, maybe. So yeah, a few more on that one for the smaller beasts as well.
do you think they'll ever release sort of Elder and
See, this is the thing now. They've made it set in Horus Heresy
Yeah.
rather than 40k. I find it a little bit limiting, but I suppose if that's where they're going to go, I mean, obviously.
I was about, and they did have a few skirmishes with them, but I mean, Horus Heresy primarily is Space Marine versus.
Yeah, you're not going to get the masses of background of the other races, but
I think
they've
Titanicus
got...
though and Heresy as a whole
Yeah.
would be a great little leading campaign. Wouldn't
I think that's a lot to do with it, that the murmurings out there of Gothic, that's heavily been rumoured to be put into that time frame if it comes back, hasn't it? So
I would love to see a
Yeah,
in
Ross,
battle.
your new
Yeah.
broadband is great, mate.
yeah. I'd have a word.
Yeah, I would be ringing them up and saying it may be fast, but you can't do anything with it.
Yeah, no, if Gothic comes back, that'll be me done for. I
That
think.
would be lovely. That's right.
I'm waiting for Inquisitor.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
Inquisitor's not. Don't.
Well, we got the big expensive picture now, haven't we? I had to put this up. This is Forge World Titanicus scale boards, but they're not cheap. And that's
That looks gorgeous.
80 quid a board. I think it's 320 for the 4 boards for a 4 foot by 4 foot. But yeah, it's a bit extreme, but very nice.
You'll buy how many different? I mean,
No, I haven't gone near this, Ross. This one's even. No, it's too rich for me, that one at the moment. But yeah, it's.
are you sure he's putting orders in right now?
Yeah.
No, there's far too much Middle Earth stuff on my cart on Forge World that I haven't clicked buy on yet. So yeah, priorities and all that. But yeah, it's again good support for the game if they're going to do that, I suppose. So
Right, this is a right motley crew turning up now.
yeah, some more Necromunda bounty hunters.
That guy looks straight from June, doesn't he?
Is
Yeah.
some crazy sculpts there of some mad stuff. But,
That's almost right out of John Blanche, isn't it?
yeah, absolutely.
Right out of John Blanche's mind.
Yeah.
I know
It's,
her.
There we go. Was this Campbell? No.
Yeah.
No, again.
Not Campbell, no. More Red
No.
Roof.
Oh god.
That's it. John's never going to Barb's again.
Yeah. Do you go to the Oh, there's a Facebook page. INQ28
Yeah, Inquisitor.
Inquisitor
I
28.
know of. Yeah.
They have got some really, really good conversions, and it's all really, really grim.
Yeah.
Really grim.
There was a good AoS group like
Yeah,
that as well.
it's the same
Yeah,
thing.
same idea, but yeah.
Let me see if I can.
Yeah, who are those lot anyway? Yeah, that the Psyhound, the Weird Lock, and what's he called? Bertram Aurorus III, the Bounty Hunter. Obviously, we all knew him.
That old chestnut.
Yep. Yeah, nonetheless, I think they're on pre-order now. If you want to hit the next pitch, yeah.
Yep.
Which I think special mention. He's out already. The Amble, just to make this whole day's news confusing
One
with
of
the
them.
first lot. Yeah, which is for Blackstone Fortress, isn't he? He's
Yes.
just arrived last week, I think.
I believe Rob
yeah.
is in the chat, so I've got to say thank
Yeah.
you to Curtain Games.
Plug Curtain Games for that one.
Got that to me, as you can see. I was in that much of a panic to get it. It's still in the wrapper.
Yeah, that pristine cellophane there for
Yep.
top-notch collectors. Made excellent. Special mention for this one. They've made some rules for him for Necromunda as well today.
Ooh.
It ports into Necromunda, so yeah. Again, I like Necromunda on the narrative-y side of gaming, and
Mm.
So it's a Necromunda 40k Obviously, kill team.
Yeah,
Everything.
This is the thing. But yeah, he is, available in Necromunda scenarios if anyone's running crazy stuff and wants to pit their gangs against one of those. Probably won't go well, but yeah, so bonus mention for that one. And obviously he's in Blackstone Fortress if you've got that, which sounds a promising game. So
Oh, it is so good.
Yeah.
For the time, I mean, I haven't played it, but I watched Ross play it,
Oh yeah, at Curtin, that was great.
Curtin, and it was a good game. And I've watched, Becca, what's her face?
Becca Scott.
Becca
Becca
Scott.
Scott.
How can you forget her face?
I watched her from inside a wardrobe. No, I watched her on YouTube playing it with Duncan and Peachy in that crowd, and it just looks so good. I can't wait. I picked up Blackstone Fortress.
It's a good AI system. I really liked it.
Yeah.
We're going to have a night of playing Blackstone, I think, aren't we?
yeah,
Well, I'm going to get someone to paint the miniatures for me because they are really cool and they are quite. They're the heroes of it, aren't they? And I want them to look good.
Yeah.
If I'd done it, it'd just be a mess. So we'll get that done maybe one night, and we'll set a camera up and we'll.
yeah.
A House of Chaos live stream of
It will be
Blackstone
the House of
Fortress.
Chaos because I'll turn up drunk. And
I'm
anything
still
can
sobering
happen
up
then.
from last week. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, moving on, Carl.
Yeah, let's skip on. Next one. I think we're moving away from Games Workshop stuff to
Yay.
something that I don't know, but you might see a few things about this
Just saw Rob's
sometime
comment.
once upon a time. But yeah, I believe this one's out there now for us in the UK. It's Jyn Erso from Star Wars Legion.
Mm.
So yeah, another choice for you rebels. But
Scum.
yeah,
Scum.
yeah, go that way
So-
because I'm going Imperial. So
So
yeah,
myself and Carl are going to start playing some Star Wars Legion, and I got the shitty end of the stick with Rebels.
it was a fairly open choice. But yeah,
It was basically. What do you want? It was like, oh, I'm in Imperials, and I thought. I didn't
Well,
even
obviously
finish
the good guys,
ask-
John.
Yeah, I didn't even finish asking the question, and it was just like, tough, you Rebels, tough shit. So yeah, so I'm gonna be picking her up this weekend, I think. If I can, I need
Yeah,
to get
let's
Princess
do another
Leia as
run.
well. You can't find.
yeah.
Leia.
No, it's hard to find that one, but it seems to be a UK thing. So I'm wondering if someone's stuck on a boat somewhere with FFG or something, because obviously
Probably. On a boat over
America they
or
ship
something.
it across, don't they, and things disappear. But yeah, as Rob said, yeah, last Thursday was the day for Jyn Erso and the ones in the next picture. I
Right.
think.
So before we move on,
Yeah.
I've been listening to a few Legion podcasts, and it's been brought to the
Oh,
attention
yes.
that she has a scarf, which
Ah.
can be seen line of sight. Some people
Okay.
cutting the scarf off.
Oh dear. Yeah. This is one thing.
So this is something that Fantasy Flight need to jump on, because you're going to start converting models.
It was a bugbear with the ATST and people building it in silly ways, wasn't it, and things
Yeah.
like that. But obviously,
But the good news is, officially, you don't have to have painted miniatures to play.
no, that was a true one, actually.
There's
Wasn't
Andy
it?
for me and you, Carl.
Yeah, right. On the shock horror, this is what I've been doing this week, is building much of the backlog for this, and I've even had episodes with spray paint and everything in the last few days, so
Oof.
for me that's quite a lot going on hobby-wise, but I think we've got the picture now, the Pathfinders come along as well. More Rebels, long range firepower, I think,
Well, they look
is the
nice.
gist. But they are apparently very good. Everything I've read and heard said they are. sort of the standout unit, sort of in a model sense at the moment. So yeah,
so
I have to have a look at those.
that'll be my weekend purchase again, I think.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'm just waiting to round up my last couple of Imperial things I haven't got, and then I'll look at what Rebel stuff I've got as well.
So
obviously,
when's Krennic and the Death Troopers
I
out?
believe that's going to be next month, is what I think. Which would then leave the tank and the speeders as April. That's what I'm working on for them.
Do you know they're bringing out a crashed 80?
Yes, I do. Yeah, the scenery type thing.
Yeah.
That one obviously is going to have objectives. It's like an objective thing, so we'll have to look into that as time goes. But obviously, with Legion, one of the pros of it is there are varying objectives and deployment decks of cards,
Yeah,
so they're obviously going to add to that and vary your games a bit.
Objective driven, isn't it?
Yes, yeah,
It
definitely.
isn't just like go
It's
across the board and
it's
kill
not
things.
necessarily a go kill everything type game. It is a very objective based type thing, which appeals to me definitely.
Shall I move on?
Yeah, if we scroll on to the next one, which I think is my X-Wing mention of the week. There's a post come up about this one today on FFG, the Sith Infiltrator, part of Wave 3 for the new X-Wing. Just some good, nice info on it on there, and what we'll be seeing very soon.
Is that from Rebels?
No, it's Darth Maul's ship, isn't it? In
I thought that was
episode
already.
1, isn't it? There may be one in Rebels, I must admit. I've still not watched it, I've got them all, but yeah, I haven't quite got onto it yet. But yeah, that's this one here. It's the early times, I think, Maul, Dooku, and the likes of those.
So it's Clone
So
Wars
it's
sort of-
it's that
Clone Wars,
era,
yeah.
definitely. Yeah, because it goes with the droids as well.
I
That's
very,
stuff.
very, very nearly picked up X-Wing the other day.
Yeah, I would say
I
need
know,
to
I don't
build
know what
mine
is,
a
I'm
bit
having
more.
a
But
midlife crisis or a meltdown. What's going on at the minute?
I must admit, I nearly picked up X-Wing as well the other day.
Yeah.
it's, the games I've played, I've enjoyed. Now it's gone back to this, but again, it's how you play it, and where you play it, how seriously you take it, and that goes a lot with that. On a side note from that, the one picture I didn't add on FFG news, the Armada Executor has apparently been delayed to the next quarter, which is the Hoofing Great Super
The
Star
big thing,
Destroyer.
right?
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, and all this talk is I keep looking at Armada personally, just because I used to love Gothic, and it's the capital ship sort of mentality with squadrons, and that
Yeah.
I keep looking at Armada, and I keep seeing it pop up the last few days. But
It's something that has caught my interest.
yeah,
But only
it's,
if I can play as Imperials. The tough.
yes,
I'm getting that
Yeah,
in
this
there
is the-
now.
yeah, quite, yeah. It's a bit more variance with that as well, and the Mon Calamaris and all that fun. But oh, absolutely, Rob. Yeah, an Armada release and delays, it happens, and yeah, it's can kind of see it with that one. But it is a pricey beast, that Executor, isn't it? But it's it looked nice on the shelf, I'm sure. So.
Right, Carl. Is there any more?
Yeah. No, I think that's just pretty much there, mate. Like I say, I kept it fairly brief this week. There's been a shitload of news that I'm sure we've all seen from these big events over the
Well,
last
yeah, that
2
was
or
the
3
problem.
weeks. But you know, we could be here all night, obviously. And one little thing, not a lot of Middle Earth news, sadly, which yeah, don't agree. But yeah, we had one little release a couple of weeks ago, I think, from Forge World, and that was that. So hopefully we'll see some more there soon.
Yeah, so we had a 3-week break, where it's normally a 2-week, isn't it? We do it every 2 weeks. We had a 3-week break because we didn't want to clash with some other people.
Yeah.
Not that it was causing us problems, but it was just seemed a polite thing to do. I know, me, polite, right? Who knows what goes on? But within those 3 weeks, you had the Las Vegas Open, the New York Toy Fair, and there was just so much stuff coming out.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
we sort of
been a lot
missed a lot of it. But it didn't seem worthy to go back and cover it. Because what's
So
out?
much.
Yeah, there was so much information about it. The only thing I was interested in was Warcry.
Yes, that's definitely interesting, that one, isn't it? But not
we've
a
got
lot
nothing
of
else
solid
about it.
details. No,
Yeah, no
other
details.
than, you know, other than made by Team Shadespire and Team Kill Team, isn't it? And
Yeah.
Dave Sanders.
yes, I think he's
Yeah.
a big part, isn't he? No,
I tell you what, whatever that man touches at the moment is just golden.
No.
Reason why I picked up Kill Team.
Gold member. Right, well, I think that's it then, guys.
yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Have a look. Shall we have a look at the next one? The next one is March the
Gosh.
4th?
Bloody hell.
That's
Half the
No,
year
it
gone
isn't.
away.
That's next week. March the
No.
11th.
March 11th, we go
March
with.
the 11th, yeah.
Yeah.
So we shall be back then. Thanks to the guys. Thank you, Ross.
Thank you.
Thank you, Simon.
Thank you.
Nice of you to turn up, Carl.
Yeah, no worries. You know, it can be done sometimes. But yeah.
Thanks to Rob and Ben in the chat, making it look
Yeah.
busy.
Yeah, definitely.
thank you,
Much
Rob and Ben.
appreciated.
If you've watched this on Facebook, apparently there's been some problem with feedback. So
Yeah, we'll try and
we
pin
will.
some of this down.
This is being recorded, but I'll record the stream as it's going out, so we'll get that up on YouTube so you can watch it there.
And hopefully I'll be getting a new laptop, so my typewriter might be out the window.
Your abacus. Do. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it.
So,
Okay, well, thanks very much, and we'll see you again in a couple of weeks.
yeah, thanks very much, guys. See you in a couple of weeks.
Cheers.
Bye!
There's